That's a real pretty Google Data Studio you got there. Does it also show you your testing roadmap for the next 90 days? Does it let you know what your active ads are? Do you have a concept of who owns what live assets? I'm curious, do you know the logic behind all of your automated rules and a log of what worked and what didn't? Let's get down to essential documentation to actually manage all of this. Once again, hi, my name is Charlie, and I'm here to help you see some success. Essential documentation so that you can manage things from $100 a day to $100 million a year. Let's get started. I'm super excited. Once again, thank you very much. If you've made it this far through any of the videos, you can go ahead and sub right there. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment or to reply or to DM. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Clubhouse. Clearly, I'm here on YouTube. I'm all over the place. And if you'd like to see more resources or you want to know more information, do not be shy. You can 100% join the Facebook group. There's over 12,000 students in there. But if you want more of a personal relationship or you want some more resources above and beyond that, go to facebookdisruptor.com. In the upper right hand spot, you'll see a button that says Patreon. You can join the Patreon there. And if you really want to up your game, don't be shy. Join the Facebook Disruptor School for regular weekly group classes, screen shares, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I'm not here to sell you on things. Well, let me tell you one more. If you want to join the Disruptor Dispatch for $1, you can get emails several times a week from me and people around the world to help you see a ton more success, and not a damn one of them is going to try to sell you on anything. I want you to be successful. I want more money and more time in your life and less stress. But anyway, a part of that is essential documentation. So let's get to it. Now, a lot of folks have a wonderful reporting dashboard, and that's great for me to know, what's my CPA? How much did I spend? How much revenue did this platform tell me it's getting? Or we can get into things that really don't matter, but are nice to have, like, what's my CPC? Doesn't fucking matter on Facebook, but who cares? What's my CPC? Or, this is my average CPM. Again, doesn't fucking matter, but it's a nice thing to talk about, right? Or what's my click-through rate? Again, doesn't fucking matter, but it's a nice thing to have. Or, maybe we can get into some other metrics like, what's the conversion rate of any landing page? And which campaign is bringing me X, Y, and Z? And these are all lovely things, but they're not project management tools. And to be fair, if you're running a big business, none of those things are going to truly help anybody other than the person whose job it is to know all of those things intrinsically anyway. So we really need to get down to some other documentation, and I'm here to help you understand today some essential documentation that you're going to need if you really, really want to up your game. And yes, these are the things that I cover in the Facebook Ads MBA program, but you should have these regardless. Now, you probably know my Scrum doc, and if you don't, there you go. Check that out. Outside of that, one of the things that I really want to get to is, of course, the ecosystem ROAS doc. And now, if you know about that one, then we don't need to go too much further there, but that is basically the Scrum doc, but for your entire business, so that you can get to your blended CPA, which is infinitely more important than a blended ROAS, because ROAS is a bullshit metric. We can get onto that all sorts of other times. I'm not going to try to rattle some cages right now. Look, you're listening to me right now, which means you're already ahead of the game, and it's going to take you a while to bring you with me, but that's okay. Outside of that, we do need a couple of things. One of the biggest pieces that I highly recommend, and is very rudimentary for just about everybody that I work with, is an optimization log. Now, I'm not saying you need to chart down every single move that you made, but it's awfully nice to know what big swings you took and what happened because of them. Because this way we're going to know, next month what happened, next year what happened. If things went well, how do we, duplicate that effort? If things went poorly, how do we not make that mistake again? Well, if you're not logging it down, then it's completely dependent on your memory. And I really, really hope you have not placed the amount of stress and reliance on the back of your brain to try to make sure that your entire business works. And if you have anybody working for you and you don't want to be answering their questions 24 hours a day or getting mad at them and they can't read your mind, you should probably write it down somewhere. And so there's an optimization log. I highly recommend that you instill some version of that inside of your business. And again, it's not to see everything that happens, but basically to say this is a big swing. This is when I did it. This is why I did it. And this is the projected outcome from it. Or maybe even this is what I saw because of that. Now, those are fundamentally basic things, but if your business doesn't have it, it can massively improve things starting right away. Now, talking about other things to massively improve things right away, another bit of essential documentation that I recommend every single person have is an active ads doc. Do you currently now, in a shared database, have links to every single ad that you're spending money on? If the answer is no, I have a question for you. How do you know that somebody's monitoring all that social proof? How do you know what ads are working, what they all have in common? How do you know what's failing for you? How do you know what people think of your brand? How do you understand, outside of going to the Facebook ad system itself, anything about what the world thinks of you? Or what you're telling people other than the name of an ad, which sometimes is helpful as red, 7. Does that mean anything to anybody? No, but I tell you, that is actually far more descriptive than half the ads that I've ever seen. Something else when we're getting to this is not just red 7, but what is your nomenclature for all of your ads? Maybe something that would be incredibly helpful for you is a nomenclature doc. Why don't you write down, this is what a campaign name means. This is what an ad set name means. This is what the ad name means. If everybody in your business can speak the same language, then it no longer requires any one particular person in the business to be present for you to have a conversation about anything that's happening. Now, that amount of visibility and transparency and honestly, the ability for somebody to be sick or to take a day off or to just not do their job will be replaced is fundamental to the growth of your business. Now, talking about things that are fundamental to the growth of your business and also help it when things are hard, what about your automated rules? Do you currently have a document that says, these are all my automated rules, this is the logic behind them, this is when they fire, this is why I've done it, and honestly, this is what occurs throughout the day? Can somebody take a look at a very simple document and understand the automation that you have running on top of your account? Basically, can somebody at a glance understand all the entry-level employees that are working for you 24 hours a day, that never make a mistake, that do everything that you tell them to do every single day, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, every 30 minutes? If the answer is no, do you even know what they're doing? You might think you do, but when something goes wrong, are you sure that it was you? Are you sure it was Facebook? Are you sure it wasn't just an automated rule? Do you have that documented somewhere? If the answer is no, well, I highly recommend that you get that done. Something else that I really highly recommend that you do. Now, by the way, I run all of these inside of one shared doc. I call it like a marketing Bible. Every single brand that I've worked with for the last 5 or 6 years, these are all included in it. And it's been a modified version of things. But one of the biggest essential pieces is you got to understand, what does your testing roadmap look like? What are you currently testing? Based on the outcome of that test, what are the next 3 moves? What's your investment in move number 2 today? If you don't know the answer to that question, I shudder to think what happens in 3 weeks when you don't win on a test. How much can you spend on that test? Are you able to actually invest all the way through this strategic or creative or tactical element? And do you know what the next 2 or 3 moves are, depending on if it's a winner or a loser, or what winning and losing on that test even actually means in the scope of your overall business as a whole? If the answer is no, I highly recommend that you put these things into place. And yes, I do have versions of all of this stuff. And yes, if you join the Facebook Ads MBA program, I will walk you through this. But this is not to tell you, to teach you, to sell you on something. I'm just trying to tell you the things that I look at on a daily basis. Because honestly, managing Facebook is a couple hours a week tops. And that's if you're having to launch ads and actively make decisions, which you should be doing as little of that as possible. Because Facebook is smarter than all of us, and micromanaging it is a waste of your time. So there's a lot of essential pieces of documentation that you should have for your account. And the last piece of this that I'm going to get to today is, well, something a bit more esoteric. It's a plan. Do you have a plan for the next 30 days, 45 days, 90 days? Maybe it's for your ad account, maybe it's your business as a whole, but knowing that managing Facebook on a day-to-day basis is a recipe for failure, stress, and money not coming into your pocket while time eludes you entirely. Knowing that micromanaging and day trading Facebook is one of the biggest mistakes that you could possibly make. Let's take it to the nth degree. If I'm no longer going to micromanage it, maybe all I need to do is know what my next 3 or 4 biggest moves are over the next 3 or 4 months. If you can get down to managing to that level, then Facebook is easy, which gives you more time in your day, which puts more money in your pocket, which increases your chance for success and ultimately reduces your stress because you're going to be able to devote the time and energy on handling things that are way more important than day trading Facebook ads. If you can get to the point where that is your daily life, well, you're going to be a lot happier. So ultimately, what I want to leave you with today is those are a few of the essential documents. No ad account that I run does not have that as a core element of what's built in. And if you have any questions about those, feel free to DM me because I want you to have them. I want you to see this. I want Facebook to be easy because it is. I want you to be making money at this because everybody around the world is doing it. And I want you to stop micromanaging things and ripping your hair out because stuff doesn't make sense, because the honest truth is almost every one of those efforts is actually a waste of your time. So, if you found this valuable, YouTube thinks that you might like these videos here. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss anything else, feel free to subscribe right there. And until next time, hi, I'm Charlie, and I will see you later on the internet. Bye.